Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel, Bees and Blossoms. My name is Kaya, and we have been gardening here in Northeast Florida for near on 17 years, 18 years now. We started off just doing small little sections of garden, growing small, just a little bit of vegetables here and there in the spring, and we didn't really get into the larger scale garden until 2018, when we decided that we wanted to get more into the really want to get like the food forest and all of that going. It's a long process, and it has taken a lot of time, and we're not quite there yet, but we're working on it. And so when I share my videos, it's sharing our whole entire journey through this process, and it's not an overnight thing. You can't do everything over, really quick and in a hurry unless you've just got a bunch of money. And the majority of the things that we try to incorporate are recycled or sourced freely. When we got the wood chips, I had contacted a local tree company and asked if they would dump their wood chips here from when they take down trees. And so we ended up with 32 or 36 loads of wood chips dumped in the back. And that is how, my hair is getting on there, sorry. That's how we ended up being able to rebuild the back pasture with nice topsoil, because it was just sand from having horses back there. All of the grass had been depleted, and it was just sand and weeds. So that's how we rebuilt the back area, and all of our fencing, even this white gate here, is reclaimed. So I'm just gonna take you through our garden as it is right now. Excuse me, it's not finished. It is always gonna be changing and growing, and we're gonna have bad times where we have a lot of weeds, and we're gonna have good times where we get really good harvests, and that's just part of gardening. But I hope that through my videos you can see that we're continuing to grow and we're not giving up even when we run into those bad seasons. So hopefully you stick around and walk through the garden with me this morning. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and flip this around, and I'm going to show you what we've done in the garden. So if you've watched any of our older videos, you know that this fence did not expand through here, and we have moved the garden entrance. We did get this gate for free from a friend of ours, and they just didn't want it anymore. So Steve brought it home, and we completely moved the entrance. It was here, which we're leaving these gates because this is big enough for the tractor to pass through. So we want to be able to have a complete drive through here, but we're not going to be using this as the main entrance to the garden any longer. It is going to be here. One thing we still have to get is a latch that's big enough for the this thingy. So right now we're just using a clamp. Another thing, as you come in, we're starting to try to define pathways so that we have a clear, just a clear walking area. And being that this area is also new, and it is the higher end of the garden, we're just trying to kind of give it a little bit of definition. And I don't know, I really like it. I really like it. All of these concrete columns We're sourced freely. We have a ton of them, and just to give you an idea of how much they cost, they're $10 at Home Depot for these exact same columns, and we were able to get them for free. We've had them stacked up for a really long time, not knowing what we were going to do with them, and then Steve had this idea of putting them in here. Now, they're not completely set in place yet. We are going to dig a trench and bury them halfway down, but we're just trying to get the layout and see how we like it. So with them, though, we have made this a bed here. That is a zucchini. The marigolds I just got yesterday from a plant nursery. I did upload a short, just kind of going through there. I was kind of overwhelmed because they had so much, and I really want to go back. But all of this is going to be weeded out, and we're going to make this a bed. So this will be a planting space in the future with more than just a zucchini and some marigolds. I might even put an eggplant in here today, but we have to get all this grass and stuff out. These concrete beds, again, were sourced freely. I think I stated that on another video, but it was a concrete culvert that was at someone's property down the way. They were selling the property and they had to get rid of the culvert. The new owners did not want it. So Steve and our friend Scott went down there with the tractor and some kind of a concrete saw. I don't know what kind, but anyway, and they cut it up into 5 sections. 3 of them are here. Scott kept one, and then the flared edge is over by the house. We're using it as like a fire pit. So again, this was a free method that we acquired to make a bed. And then we've kind of made like a little keyhole walkway around it so that you're going to be able to get in here and get the strawberries. Oh, look at that. Oh, it's got a little bug bite, but I don't care. I'm going to let it go. There's a nice one coming in here. See that? One there. And then the blueberry, this bush, it seems to be doing, they seem to be happy. We put in a mix of Black Cow topsoil, but then we also took some of the compost from the pile that we left of the wood chips to break down and mixed it all in there. And honestly, they seem very happy in this spot here. So we're going to leave them. All of this is new. We haven't done anything to the soil in this area. It is just the natural sand that we have here. This is what we had after the horses. This is what we had to build up with the wood chips. So we're doing the exact same thing here again with leaf mulch. And I've contacted the same company to see if they, now that it's dried up, it was so muddy from all of the rain, but I've contacted them again to see if they would, if they're working out here, they're welcome to, dump their wood chips in the back. They have a huge truck and their mulcher just pushes it all into the truck. And so they dumped loads and loads of it. I have some old videos on the Facebook page of that, but we have a jalapeno pepper here, an eggplant, a squash, a zucchini, a little patch of okra, and a little patch of corn. We're just trying to see what is going to do well where. This has to be weeded out again, even though we did kind of till it up to get some of the weeds out and break up the grass. It has to be done again. And like I said, this is a trial section right now. It is, we're keeping it as a planting space, but we have a lot of work to do in this particular section. And that's okay. We did just expand this at the beginning of the year. I think in February or beginning of March, he moved the fence because the fence used to be right up against the greenhouse and it would go where the asparagus is right here. It just came from the edge of the tack room all the way across because that's where the boundary was when we had horses. So he just moved that fence up. The pineapples, we put them in the greenhouse. They all need to be up potted. This one, I guess some lettuce seeds were in this soil when we transplanted it before at the beginning of winter, and so we have some lettuce growing in there. My little Sunrise Bee tomato, it's the only one out of my old seeds that germinated, so we're letting it go. I've got some basil. Steve put some marigolds around it, so I'm hoping that's going to be a nice big little snack when you come in the garden. This bed again is still a work in progress. We've got 2 zucchinis and a squash. The grapevine, we don't know where it's going to go yet. The side of the tack room is going to get redone. But all of this, like I said, is still just, it's new. All of this is a new growing space, and we're working on it. Today, I'm going to get in here and try to get all the grass pulled out of the asparagus. But we've got a lot of asparagus that's coming up and going to fern. They're finally starting to get to where they're kind of edible size, but I have more seeds I want to plant, and we're going to keep this as a permanent asparagus bed, and we're just going to work it all in to this area now and get all this grass out of the way. So we expanded the walkway to here. We have to fix that gate pole. Pinky knocked it over. So you can still enter through this way, but we want to be able to close this off in case we have to open these and Pinky decides to come through. We are doing watermelons here again. They are really, really happy. This one here is, I think, a honeydew or a cantaloupe. But all of these watermelons will just grow and grow and grow and take over this whole entire trellis and everything. So we're gonna let them go. We have the potato section again. All of these are potatoes. We did harvest that 1 barrel of red potatoes there. But these are white. The tall ones are the white potatoes. The short ones are red potatoes. And growing them in the raised barrels like this worked for us last year. And I didn't cut the potatoes. We just planted the potatoes completely whole, and I did get a really nice yield out of that, of doing it that way. And doing it in the raised beds, I would say we don't have the pest pressure that we do putting them directly in the ground. It does change the yield a little bit, and then the quality of the potato as well. So we'll continue doing that. Here we have regular straight cucumbers coming in here. I might come in and add some more seeds, but this is something that we can only grow for a certain period of time because it does get too hot in our area eventually. And then here I have a mix of bush beans and pole beans, and they are a green bean variety, so we are going to let that go. But that's what we have going in this small side garden. Now, somebody in one of the comments said that we need to move this off of the building because of the shade. In the winter time, yes, we can't really grow anything here because of the angle of the sun. It shades it all the way to except for this little section right here. So that is true. However, you can tell that the sun moves with the seasons because look at where the shadow is compared to where it is in wintertime. It's almost all the way over there compared to just right here in the winter. So the reason that we use this as a spring and summer trellising area is because the angle of the sun is different in spring and summer compared to fall and winter. So that's why it is closer to the garage. We did not build this as a winter growing space. We built it as a spring and summer growing space. This is also where the horse stalls used to be. That's why that window's boarded up, because one of the horses kicked it. When we bought this property, they had metal roofs coming off of this, so we made makeshift stalls. Like, we built this area into stalls for the horses. So when we took the stalls down, there was a lot of like manure that had, over the years, that had just gone down into the dirt. So we used this as a growing area. And it's worked. It's worked well for us. So that's not a problem. So this section here, we have grown lettuces, we have grown squash and zucchini. Before we started breaking the garden up into sections, we used to just do long rows of everything. So we've had corn here, okra here, squash here, potatoes here. We've had corn here, okra here, squash. Like, every section has been rotated. But we're trying to eventually get into the no-till method of gardening. That's our ultimate goal. So we are continually bringing in, like I said, mulch. When we had duckweed on the pond, we brought in the duckweed and we lined the rows with it, and we put it in between the walkways, just to let that organic matter break down and get back into the soil. And it's doing amazingly. It is working. We still have a lot of work to do. So what we're doing now is, anytime we're cutting the grass or we mulch up leaves with the bagger, we are putting it in the garden. That way, not only does it help keep the weeds down, but it also breaks down and adds the nutrients to the soil. Oh, you got slime on your face. Thanks a lot. These are all zucchinis around this. I'm doing kind of an experiment with those to see how they do compared to the ones in the raised bed. But they're doing better since the soil dried out, because we had so much rain. And now that the soil is drying out, they're getting more oxygen to the roots, and they are doing much better. This is a Tabasco in the center here. He has grown leaps and bounds since being planted, and then the onions around him are doing much better than the onions over in the raised bed off to the side that I'll show you in a minute. This year, this is going to be our melon patch. We have the melons in the barrels because we're trying to keep them off of the ground, but all of this is going to be covered with just spilling out melon vines. You can see here, this watermelon is already starting to vine out and come onto the bottom. So, and that was intentionally, like, we planned it that way. So this one is starting to expand too. And we do already have some, this is a honeydew or cantaloupe. I think it's a cantaloupe. That's cantaloupe and that's a honeydew, I'm pretty sure. There's 4 plants in here. There's 4 plants in there, and there's 2 in there. Same with the watermelons, 2 and 2. But they're all gonna sprawl out and just take over this area and make it so big and beautiful. You're gonna be stepping very carefully through here to pick a melon, but that's okay. Coming over here to this box, let me tell you, this is my favorite box. First of all, the apple mint that I thought I was going to lose has absolutely come back and taken over, which is totally fine by me. This is a Mexican tarragon. It came back on its own, and so did the mojito mint. It came back on its own as well. I even have some little gnome houses and stuff stuck in there. This basil was a Publix purchase. Let me get out of here. And I had it inside on the windowsill, and it just started getting really, really tall. So I'm like, well, let me plant it outside. And since I've planted it outside already, there's new growth at the base. Like, all of that was not there when it was in the house. It was just these 2 long strands. And so I think it's happy. Back here, there is a sage that I have planted. I don't know if you can see that. The sun angle is getting me. But the apple mint is definitely spreading. My stevia did not come back. Oh, wait. Maybe it is coming back. Is that? That's where it was. I think it was there. Oh, or maybe. Yeah, I don't know if it came back or not. That might be it. I'm not sure. But, or is that it? That could be. That's it right there. I didn't know that was there. Okay, so my stevia did come back, so that's not stevia. But, so that's coming back. And then this is like a garlic grass. You can use it for cooking. But right now, this is my favorite bed. I just love it. There was a barrel here with jalapenos in it. We have taken that soil and put it over there. All of these dollar weeds have to be dug out, and we're going to put a weed barrier down. Unfortunately, dollar weeds are a problem for our area. So they're just here. This, I don't know what you are. I think is another Tabasco. Yeah, that is. That's a, oh no, wait. Are you a habanero? Okay. One of these is a Tabasco and one's a habanero, and I think that's the habanero, and I think that's the Tabasco. This bed has to be weeded out. We're going to put a cherry bomb pepper in there. This I just bought yesterday at the nursery. There's a Thai basil or holy basil. So we've got that. We've got an Italian oregano. These are all pickling cucumbers that I want to go up and over. A thyme, some lemon balm, and a chocolate mint. And I like chocolate mint because it smells like chocolate and mint together, and peppermint, mint, chocolate, peppermint, chocolate, mint chocolate chip. Oh my gosh, I don't know why I couldn't say that. Is my favorite ice cream. So, yeah, this is the Tabasco. And it's doing really, really well putting out flowers. So these little guys, I had a Kajari melon planted in that box last year, and it didn't do well, but it did put out some fruit. And I'm guessing I missed it because all of these little melon plants came up. And I'm thinking I'm going to move some of them to another location because I see there's some sun scald going on with the leaves. But that's a surprise that I was not anticipating. So let's go here. We have another little patch of okra. Just letting it go. We'll get what we get out of that one. Now this is another patch of corn. We have to come in and weed in between them, and then we're going to push the dirt up onto the stalks to give them some support. But that's really coming in nicely, and when this is nice and tall, it's going to be so pretty. This row of okra is doing the best. You know, it's just we're trying to find what does well in what locations, and every year you're learning more and hopefully documenting so that you remember for the following year what did well where. This box is newly planted. There are some sweet potatoes that are coming back. Those are the purple ones, but I took out all of the Mizuno that was in here. This is a super sweet 100 cherry tomato down here. Some cabbages, I don't know what they're gonna do. We just added the marigold in there. This is a Mizuno in the back. These are red bell peppers. That's a red bell, and then one's a yellow, or vice versa. Oh, I thought that was a bug, but it's not. It's a mulberry that got stuck. Oh, there's a ton of mulberries that got stuck in here. This is a mulberry tree. It's a white mulberry. and you can make jam from the berries, but it's a really nice tree and we like it. I need to shake it and get some berries out of it, but they're falling and getting stuck in my lettuce. This I'm letting bolt and go to seed. This is a romaine. I am out of romaine seeds, so I don't know if it's going to, like, this is the only romaine lettuce that I have in here, so I don't know what it's going to do. But and the same with these lettuces. I'm letting them flower so I can get seeds and save them. Look, there's a friend. You see him in there? Just moved. A little lizard. I like how they live in the leaves. There he is again. I'm gonna see. There we go. Is he still there? Yep, there he is. See? Right there. But this bed is being worked on because all of this, once it goes to seed, I am taking it out and we are planting something else in this bed. This squash is the first squash to set fruit, and it's in a raised bed. So we have fruit set already on this squash. Nothing for the zucchini, but he is starting to put out a flower right here. So I've got rosemary in the dead center. That is another Tabasco pepper and an eggplant. And then we're trying the copper into the soil to see how that affects growing as well. I don't know because I don't really have a control. We have them in 3 beds except for this one. And you can see the difference in these onions compared to the ones in the barrel. They're just not growing as well. It's the exact same variety of onion. So I don't know if there's something missing on this end compared to that end. Maybe less sun because we do have the oak tree. The peppers that are in here are jalapeno, except for the one in the front. The one in the front is a homegrown Tabasco. And I'm going to put something right here. I don't know what I'm going to put here yet, but I'm going to put something. Which brings us to our tomato section, which is still a work in progress. See, we're covering it, and then we'll move it over to the next row, and we'll get this section ready for the tomatoes that I just bought. This is a zucchini, which this zucchini is extremely happy here. We don't have any, so far, no pests, thank goodness, knock on wood. But this one is starting to set a flower. Now, they do put out male and female flowers, so I don't know if that is, because it doesn't look like it has a fruit at the end of it. That could be male flowers, but I think male flowers are the first ones to set. And then we have tomatoes. These are all beefsteak tomatoes, so these are going to be a slicer tomato. I have Romas and Cherokee purples that are going to go in the ground, and we are finally going to let them to start setting fruit. And then these ones in the front were the bigger tomatoes. We are going to let them go ahead and go to flower and set fruit. We're going to leave those flowers, instead of pinching them off, we're going to leave them alone. And then these boxes we're going to move. I'm not sure where we're moving them to yet, but they are not going to stay here. They didn't do well, which is something we had to figure out. There's too much shade, I think, here. So, and too much, like, these are sweet gum trees. Can you see? And they drop, which if you do, if you are into tinctures and stuff, they make Tamiflu. You can use this to make homemade Tamiflu from the green balls. You soak them in vodka, but they drain a lot of nutrients from the ground, and they are really annoying to try to grow under. So these boxes are going to get moved, and I think we're just going to let this go. I don't know what we're going to do over here, but Yeah, the sweet gum trees are quite annoying. But what I wanted to show you back here is the blackberry that we planted a few years ago. Last year we trimmed the leading canes back like it said to trim them, and it just didn't do well. And now we have a whole new one coming out of the ground. So we're hoping that if we kind of give this, room to grow, we're going to get some mulch in here, get it cleaned up, keep it cleaned up, that it'll do well. But on the wild side of things, we have a patch of wild berries that are growing in here. Can you see? Let's see if I can get the berries to come into focus. There's some. Look at them. And this whole area back here is just covered in wild blackberries. So we're leaving this area alone for right now, and we're just gonna enjoy the natural harvest. You can see the beehives. We did move them to the back of the garden intentionally, which if we hadn't, we wouldn't have been able to expand the front area to where we did. I still only have 2 hives, but I do intend on expanding eventually. And that is a trap hive just sitting up there. It's not baited or anything, it's just sitting. This fenced in area is gonna go away. We had tried to grow corn, but there's so many ants and it needs so much work in there that we're just gonna let it ride, and we're gonna move it. The orange tree is finally doing really well. If you look in here, you can see we have some fruit set all over. There's oranges. Something else that we have are baby caterpillars. These will turn into swallowtail caterpillars. Yes, they do eat the citrus, but I like swallowtail caterpillar or butterflies, so we're gonna leave them alone. But you can see there are oranges coming in everywhere. We've had this orange tree for quite some time. There's been talk of taking it out, leaving it, whatever. But it's finally doing well, and so we're gonna leave it. These are Satsuma trees that my mom got us last year. They're new, but they have settled in nicely, and they are starting to come back. So we're gonna keep. Oh wow, there's a really big one here. Look at this guy. Look at him. They're meant to look like snakes to prevent them from being eaten by birds. Look at the size difference. There's a little tiny one on the leaf next to him versus this one. But they are meant to look like snakes. And they have a little fake tongue. I'm not getting this very well. Hold on. That is supposed to come out when you touch them. But the whole intention is for them to look like... There he goes. There he goes. See? Anyway, they're supposed to look like snakes so that birds won't eat them. And they turn into those big, beautiful butterflies with the 2 tails off the back, and they're beautiful. These are plum trees that, honestly, I got them from Walmart on clearance for $10. But they're really happy. They transplanted well. And all of this is new growth on top. So that's coming along. And this is a peach tree, which the deer seem to be coming up and eating, which is a problem that we do have deer. But it is setting some fruit as well. Also got him for $10 on clearance. I think he's going to be happy, but we'll see. We will see. This fig tree we cut the first, it lived in a pot for 2 years because I bought it before the house fire. The house burned down. It did not get planted out here for 2 summers. I just kept it in a pot and it stayed small. And then we planted out and we get hit with a huge freeze and it killed it all the way down. And the next year, after the freeze, we thought it was done. All of a sudden, we get this big, huge tree. And so we've looked at how to prune it. So we have pruned it because you get more fruit production on new growth than you do old growth. So that's what we're doing with the fig. But it's doing really well. The mulberry is a male. I don't know what we're going to do with it. That tree at Gabe's grave is a dogwood, which the deer are eating, which I'm going to have to block off. And then we have the pomegranate, which is really cool because there are little pomegranate flowers all over this tree. I mean, they're all in here. So we have done some research to see what we need to do in order to get pomegranates to grow and actually get fruit off of it. And we've learned that the foliage and the flowers need a lot of water. So we are going to start spraying it with water on a daily basis, the leaves and everything. But I'm really happy that it lived and that it's doing so well. I mean, it's grown. I think it's probably doubled in size since I bought it. And I think I'm almost sure that I bought that from either Lowe's or Eat Your Yard Jack's, which is another nursery that's really cool to visit. This is some type of blueberry that we dug up and moved, but it has not produced any fruit. And then the banana trees and the palms, they're still doing good by the pond, but I've got to do something with them. The guava, it froze, it's coming back, and everything else is still, like the apple tree. She actually has more leaves on her this year than she ever has, but these piles of sand, the whole drain field catastrophe is just, that's just another story in the rebuild. The guy, I mean, he took our money. I don't know. He's a criminal. He's been in jail multiple times, and he's done this to many, many people, but he takes their money, and then you have to sue. Anyway, it's a whole big mess, and I'm just not talking about it. But that's it. That is the whole garden as of right now. And yeah, it's just, everything is still a work in progress, but we are moving forward, and we're doing our best. All right, guys, so I know that was a long video. I'm sorry that it was a longer video, but I had a lot of things to share with you guys and a lot of updates that you hadn't seen, because the last time I did pretty much a long video was in the wintertime, just kind of showing everything last summer overwhelmed us with the heat, and we didn't have a good harvest last year. It got so hot so fast that everything just went away. And then with focusing on building the house, it has just been it was really hard last year, but we are hitting the ground running this year, and I'm really happy with where we are with the progress that we've made. So yeah, just, I don't know, I guess you're gonna get negative comments on the internet. Like, you're putting yourself out there, and there's gonna be negative people. That's just, there's a lot of them in the world. So I hope that you enjoy walking through the garden with me. I hope that you'll enjoy coming and picking harvests when we start to get fruit. And any advice, I'm open to it. If you have any way of doing things, we are zone, I guess it's 9A now. Or 9B. It used to be 9A. I don't know. Northeast Florida, 9AB. So if you have any suggestions on how to make it through the pest pressure, I mean, we do the neem oil, we do the BT, we are trying everything that we can possibly think of. Like I said, we're still amending our soils. We're still trying to build that, we're still trying to build the dirt up to where we want it to be, to get that soil right. But yeah, I'm open to suggestions, and that's it though. Thank you for hanging out with me and just checking out what we've been working on. I really do appreciate it, and I hope that you enjoyed it. So again, thanks guys for hanging out with me, and hopefully I'll see you on the next video. Take care.